Fuck yes, welcome to After the Hype. With me, your host is always Brian Darso. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardesty.
Long drawn out sigh.
CHEWIE Darso.
I'm eating cookies.
And Ryan James.
Very excited.
Oh my god, you guys are the worst. All I want is a little bit of excitement. And
You
I
are
get nothing.
all fired.
Happy New Year.
2017! Special guest this week, we have Paul Kreuger here. Hi, Paul.
Hi.
Paul, before we get started here, we're going to say, hey, where can we find you online? What do you have that's going on in your life? Why are you here today? All of those fun things.
I am here because Ryan has my family and he won't let them go. Please help me. But no, seriously.
Yeah, he's a dick, man. Don't introduce Ryan to your family.
It's
It's like, what about Bob?
It's a mistake I'll never make again because he'll never give them back. You can find me on Twitter at NotLikeFreddy. That's the best place to find me. What I've got going on in my life. I wrote a book called Last Call at the Nightshade Lounge. It is available in bookstores everywhere, and it is essentially it's about a secret society of bartenders that defend Chicago from demons using alcohol magic.
That sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
A lot of fun to research.
Do they have to be drunk to use their magic?
Actually, no. The magic system is about drinking responsibly. If you get too drunk, you can't use the magic.
Wow.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, it was inspired by, a lot of things. But you know when you're playing beer pong and you're just that level of drunk where you can't miss?
Oh,
but if you have one
that's a
more
rarity,
beer...
but yeah.
Yeah, but if you have one more beer, then you'll miss everything.
Yes.
Like, that's kind of what my magic system is based on.
That's great.
That's awesome. So when are they making the movie?
God, your lips to the Weinstein's ears.
Well, they're big listeners, so check it
Send
out.
us emails every week. Like,
Yeah.
oh, good show.
Yeah.
Good show.
I just imagined a Weinstein going, less tongue.
Yeah. Just Paul Kreuger is my kind of scum. Fearless and inventive.
You also mentioned there's an audiobook that you put a lot of work into?
Oh, well, a very talented actress named Emily Wu Zeller put a lot of work into it. I just wrote a bunch of words that I didn't know how to pronounce, and then she had to email me to ask me how to pronounce all of them.
I always wonder that, like, when you are reading a fantasy book, like, there are even historical weapons that I don't know how to pronounce.
Oh, yeah. What happens is the audiobook company says, hey, here's a list of 85 terms that we need pronunciation clarification on. What are they? And you think to yourself, I never thought there would be an audiobook.
It just looks pretty when I write it.
Yeah, well, I picked out like all these archaic terms from like Gaelic or whatever for liquors and stuff. Because I never thought there would be an audiobook. So these are languages I didn't have any familiarity with. And then I had to spend a lunch break going on YouTube, finding pronunciation guides of those words from native speakers, and then writing it down phonetically on my legal pad and hoping that I got it right.
Pretty deep.
Yeah, but the audiobook is available on Amazon. And the book is also available on Amazon, or you can find it in any Barnes & Noble or Walden Books or Crown Books. Does anybody remember Crown Books? It's where I bought Animorphs.
I forgot
love
about
it.
Walden Books.
I remember you bought
Yeah.
those books there for some weird reason.
I had B. Dalton growing
Yeah,
up.
B. Dalton.
Oh, I know B. Dalton.
Yeah.
He's a bud.
Chapters for all you Canadian listeners out there.
It's true. I saw it there.
Actually, Ryan posted a picture on Facebook from Chapters, and it's like this display where all these authors with the letter K, and it's like cool when your friend's book is on a display, but the main book on it was a Stephen King book, and I type out, oh my God, you're friends with Stephen King. oh wait.
Wait, it's me.
We'll also have on our websites and Facebook and whatnot, if you are curious, we'll have links to his book as well if you want to go pick it
And
up.
then I heard the second edition of his book has a review from us on the cover, so we'll be famous.
As
Yeah.
long as we're famous.
What a twist.
On the cover.
After the hype says it's great, it'll be written right on the cover.
Books, put it on the back, Ryan.
No, some are on the front.
Yeah.
The first Preacher trade has on the front. Better than going to the movies. Kevin Smith.
Boom.
That was Kevin Smith.
Yeah, it's
And we
Well,
are after
we're never
the
getting
hype.
him on the podcast now.
What are you guys doing that Kevin Smith doesn't do?
Right?
All he does is podcast. We are Kevin Smith.
You guys can make a better movie. You guys can make a better movie than Yoga Hosers.
Well, what you don't
I
realize
think
is
anyone
Probably.
can.
We don't
We have a
have
trench
the
coat
money
that we all hide
to
under.
make a better movie.
we all just gather under a trench coat like a one giant like mech. Like gather, and it's we become
And we shall podcast.
we shall podcast.
Is that a fat joke?
It's kind of
All
a
right.
Vincent Adultman joke.
Let's move on to where have you been doing. I feel like we've drilled this as far as we can. Paul, why don't you go first? Where have you been doing? What thing have you done recently you would like to share?
I have been watching. I just started this last night. It is a Norwegian teen drama called Skam, which is the word for shame.
Okay.
It's about to get made into an American series. So I decided to check it out because one of my friends is obsessed. And if you're a fan of the original British skins, not the MTV version, it's really, really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, so the way it works is that the episodes air in real time. So if a scene is said to take place on Sunday at 3:30, the network will post a clip of it on Sunday at 3:30, and then at the end of every week, they'll compile that week's scenes into a whole episode. So I just jumped on this train last night, and I am like 8 episodes into the first season, and I'm loving it.
Wow. Where do you watch it?
Places.
Are they? They're definitely illegal, right?
They are completely 100% above someone's board, I'm sure. Yeah, just, places.
But it's not like on Hulu or anything like that yet?
No, unfortunately.
Okay.
If you want to Google it, the word is Skam, Skam, and not like any of those weird A's with the little dot over them that you get in Norwegian. It's just Skam.
Oh, that's good
so
to know.
nothing like an IKEA pronunciation.
Right.
I want to get the
IKEA
Skam
is
shelf.
Swedish. You do not mix it up with Norwegians. We don't like it.
No, and there's an IKEA
We-
like
yeah.
half a mile down the road, so they can hear us.
Yeah. They're listening.
they're opening
they will
a big
make,
one.
They will make
Bigger
you eat their
one.
horse meatballs.
They're good though.
They're good, yeah.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm just saying-
IKEA is my favorite restaurant in Burbank.
Gross.
IKEA is my favorite restaurant in IKEA.
I have never had any of their meatballs, and I don't intend to.
They're actually not bad.
They're
But
really good.
Let's keep moving. Ryan, where have you been doing?
I saw the smash hit Passengers. It's doing really well, right? No, I don't know.
No, it's flopping.
So
I
how
can
much
see
fapping
why.
did you do? Like,
Because I'm really turned on by space.
it's two beautiful people making out in space.
That's all it was. And I went to see a movie, and I didn't get it.
I've said this before outside of the podcast, but somebody on my Facebook said the trailer looked like a perfume ad, and it just ruined the whole movie for me. Like I couldn't look at it any other way after that.
I do kind
The
of want to see
movie-
the movie as long as I can put headphones on and listen to like new age music the whole time. Then,
There you go.
like it's a perfume ad.
Yeah, perfect.
You could. The soundtrack is good. The visuals are actually fantastic. The spaceship is really cool, but then it's just Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence being themselves in space.
Boring.
Yeah.
How's the pool scene?
Oh, dramatic. Yeah.
Is it
I mean,
cool?
yeah.
I've heard that's the best scene in the movie.
I'll buy that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wait, the part when she's swimming in a bathing suit
In the air.
in 0G,
Yeah.
a woman swimming
Yeah.
in a bathing suit in 0G is the best part of that movie. Go figure.
I mean, it's supposed to be really well done.
I don't. You know,
I read it
I
for the
see what you're
it
article.
saying.
wasn't filmed with eye candy in mind, unless eye candy to you is seeing special effects, because most of it's in a wide so that you can see how far from the edge of the bubble she actually has to go.
I'm just trying to make just a sexist joke.
Well, I'm
You
correcting
succeeded.
you because
Okay, fine.
Actually.
yeah.
Chewie, what about
Let me
you?
push
Where
up my
have you been
glasses.
doing?
I'm sorry. We've seen several things,
Yeah.
but I don't want to take it away from you.
So
So
say
I
what-
will talk about how Brian made me watch Gremlins for the first time since I was 4.
I was convinced you're going to go with Hidden Figures, but no, you're going with Gremlins. All right.
I will chime in when you talk about Hidden Figures.
I wasn't going to, but
Oh,
no,
you weren't?
Gremlins. No, please keep
Oh.
talking about Gremlins.
You're locked in now.
There are no take backsies.
What'd you think of Gremlins?
Backstory: it was one of those films that I saw like when I was like 4 or something like that, just too young. So I did not know until I was an adult and someone told me that it was a comedy. I'm like, Gremlins is a comedy? That movie's terrifying.
It's funny. It's heartfelt. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I did not know back then, and I just refused to ever watch it again because I still get uncomfortable watching Gremlins, and I
They
just
just want to watch Snow White. They're adorable. They're just little
They
mischief makers.
terrible. But it's strange watching it because I still find them terrifying. Like they just make my skin crawl. But actually watching the film where I can remember things beyond terror, the Gremlins don't actually do anything evil until the humans start killing them. It was so weird because the one like hatches in the high school, and yes, he kills the professor, but the professor, you see him being evil first.
He drew blood. That was all he did.
But he drew blood in a really evil way. Like he hurt that little gremlin. So that gremlin was upset.
Technically, he was a
and
Mogwai then. He turned into a gremlin.
I
then.
love
yeah, so
this.
he was upset. And so then you cut to the house where they birthed, and they're doing stuff in the kitchen, and all they're doing is eating things.
And the mom
and
comes
then
in
the
like
mom just
Rambo.
comes in and starts killing them. So you're like, wait. The Gremlins didn't even do anything to her. She's just murdering them. So yeah, they're gonna try to kill her back.
They're just like little drunk things.
I love our agenda,
snacks.
our anti-human agenda
Yeah,
that we're pushing forth on this podcast. Like, well, you know what? The humans were the bad guys.
It comes up a lot.
Yeah, it does.
I was just like, I was waiting for like the Gremlins to do something first, and they actually never did anything first, other than go
They
drink.
tortured poor little Gizmo.
Yeah.
Put him
So
up
they
on the
were bullies.
dartboard. They
Okay,
threw
have we
darts
learned
at him.
anything? We're just supposed to we're supposed to learn how to stop bullies from being bullies, and, how
And
to
the
stand
mom
up to
stops
them.
him by throwing him in
You're
the microwave
not
and turning it
supposed to
on.
be a murderer.
Yeah, you know how you kill. You know how you get rid of bullies? You kill them.
Kill him good. Stab him to
So-
death and let him bleed out.
That's right, kids. Kill your bullies.
In the end, I did start to see some funny parts, and there were some good parts of Gremlins. I still like. It's hard to get rid of that psyche for them when you're your youth, when you're so afraid of something, and
I
then it just doesn't
disagree.
go away.
No, it's why I haven't gone back to ET.
You were afraid of ET?
Guy freaked me out.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's a rabbit hole we don't have time for. John, where have you been doing?
Oh, speaking of weird rabbit holes that we probably don't have time to go down to, I finished Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
It's a weird game all around.
Like all Final Fantasy games are.
Yeah, there's a chapter near the very end before the last one where it's just super tedious, and then the last chapter with the boss fight is very Final Fantasy. So you've
Okay.
got something in the very beginning that's not Final Fantasy. You don't know the story. You get the story at the end. Nothing makes sense. But I still had fun. But there was a lot of problems.
I'll pick it up at some point. I'm still
Don't pay full
interested.
price for it, or wait until they do their story DLC that they get for it, because they're gonna flesh out the story.
Okay.
I wish
So-
I had done all those things for passengers.
Passengers, like the first time I even watched a trailer, I'm like, oh, they're like sci-fi's cool right now, and these people are really hot and cool right now. Let's put them together.
Yeah, I made
But-
a huge mistake.
And it didn't pay off. It's really too bad.
The thing that I
Kind
liked,
of, I guess.
the thing that I like the most though about it is it does a thing in games that I don't see very often, but I do like. Dragon's Dogma kind of did this too, where it's like suddenly you're familiar with this open world, and then it just changes, and so you're recontextualizing yourself in this world that's changed since things have happened, and it's really kind of a cool.
Well,
sense-
Final Fantasy's done that a few times. I mean,
Yeah.
they did that originally with 7. Like
Okay.
like you thought you had this whole world, you thought you were doing good, and then take a left turn, and holy shit, the world's huge now, and it's
Also, Ocarina of Time does that too. When you pick up
Yeah,
the Master
yeah, yeah.
Sword, there's that sense of like, here's the world post the bad guy winning sort of thing, and I liked how that looked and how that felt,
yeah.
and it was a really kind of cool. I just wish there was more to it. Like if there was more story to it, all this would have made sense and it would have been just so much more rich. But
Did you watch the movie?
No.
I've heard the movie's actually pretty good.
I've heard so too, but I'm kind of in an anti kind of. If it's not the actual thing I'm playing, I don't really want it. I'm not into that alternate media thing.
Was there anything else you want to say about 15, or should I go?
Buy it cheap.
Cool. I went and saw Assassin's Creed. So much like in our last episode when I said my next Where Have You Been Doing will be Assassin's Creed. Yep,
Oh.
I did it.
All right, we'll talk about Hidden Figures next
Some
week.
other time. Yeah, so I saw it. It was a movie, and it was, as a movie-going fan, it sucks. As a fan of Assassin's Creed, it's not very good.
We had
no.
we had a lengthy discussion about this at dinner last night.
Yeah, it's just like it does a few things right, and those things that it does right makes it not the dumpster fire that the reviews will make you believe that it is. Like there's a chase sequence about halfway through this huge parkour chase sequence all through the city, and it's fucking amazing. Like it's done so well. It feels like Assassin's Creed. They're doing like flips, and knives are just coming out of them as they're doing flips, kind of like in the game. And they're always like spot on with their aim, and it's just really, really awesome. You get really swept up in it. It's like if the whole movie was as good as that one scene, this would be my favorite movie of the year. But sadly, it's 2 hours long, and that's like 5 minutes. And the rest of it is just it's so mediocre. It's aggressively mediocre. Like everything, like they spend so much time making the real world and the fake world, trying to flesh them out, that they end up not fleshing out either one,
Yeah.
and you end up not caring about anyone, and it's a mess.
It was disappointing.
Yeah.
But the biggest problem I had with it that I have told to Brian many times, and he agrees, no one jumps from a 30 floor building, 30th floor, and lands in a bale of hay and is fine.
Yep, they never do it. They never do like the
Leap of faith.
The leap of faith.
No, they never do.
What?
They
I'm
never
like, this
do
is
it.
Assassin's Creed.
That's the one shot in the movie I thought would be in it.
Yeah, and they
That's
show
the-
it in the trailer, and that's kind of the one time they do it. But it's
They don't really show it. They show people jumping, but you never see the landing, and that is
I don't-
pure Assassin's Creed in the bale of hay.
They do show one landing, but I don't want to spoil it because it's kind of a plot thing. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, I don't want to ruin things for you. And then there's one bale of hay. And this one I will ruin. It's just a dead guy. A dead guy falls off a building and lands in a bale of hay. So he's not fine.
That
He's
doesn't
dead.
count.
Waka
That
waka.
doesn't count.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. So
It's like having a Super Mario Brother movie and not having mushrooms in it.
yeah, which
It's
they've
like-
also done.
No, they had mushrooms in the movie.
You can't call those mushrooms.
was
You also
still a
had
thing.
mushrooms
They've-
when going to it.
The movie sucked.
I still love that
It's a
movie.
piece of art.
We're not
One
going
day.
down this rabbit hole.
It's a piece of fart. Speaking of farting,
And dead guys.
very true.
But no hay.
Oh. Hey, speaking of dead guys. So today's movie is Swiss Army Man.
These parts were a little more wet than that.
Well, some of them. There was a lot. This is the art house equivalent of dick and fart jokes, which is, man, there's so much to talk about in this movie. But to give you a little bit of the backstory on it, came out in June of last year. It cost money. They didn't really say how much, but I'm sure it cost more than they'd ever seen before because they're music video directors who got the golden keys to make whatever the fuck they wanted, which is really cool because that's what they did. And then it ended up making a whopping $4 million.
It sounds like it could have made its money back.
I would have guessed, just looking at like how much work had to go in it, I would have pegged it about $10 million.
Yeah.
So maybe after like DVD sales and that sort of stuff, it might have made its money back, but I'd guess barely.
Does anybody care that it didn't make its money back?
No one's talking about it at all. Like,
That's the
it's-
real
yeah,
question.
it was really one of those things of like, it's like the will it work? It worked. Good enough.
Yeah.
So, but we'll break into why it works and doesn't work in a little bit. Because first, we need to do a breakdown. Breakdown.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready to do this, Paul?
Yes.
Are you excited to do it?
Oh, I have been ready to talk about the most disappointing Harry Potter movie I've ever seen.
Is that what this was?
Shit, I did not read that.
Oh,
Look, yeah, for
and a
tho-
half butt plug.
Remember that part where Harry Potter dies and he goes into a weird dreamland?
This is what happened during that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So when he's farting his way across the ocean, he's going back to fight
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Hogwarts?
yeah.
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
I got to tell you, this.
You're my Ron Weasley.
Anyhow, go, 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 go.
All right. Here's the thing, guys. If you can't get tickets to Equus, this is a great way to see Daniel Radcliffe's ass. That's the first thing I would say.
It's Harry.
Basically, this guy's stranded on an island. A corpse washes up on the island, and it turns out that he's got kung fu grip and kung fu chopping, and he can spout water, and he can do all kinds of things with his farts. And while they are on the island and he is using him to survive, he's also working through his therapy about like what life means and what death means. And also there's this chick he's stalking who's Ramona Flowers. And
You're out of time.
oh no.
Oh, you just had like one sentence left to
Yeah,
go.
you were
And then his
close.
dad was disappointed in him.
Yeah. You were so close.
No,
and yet so fart. I mean,
Hey.
Yeah, I was going to say my insult for failing is going to be a real winner. Man, that breakdown was like a wet fart.
And that joke just hit like a wet fart.
That's how they always do.
everyone change your pants.
All right. So yeah, the end of that was his dad was disappointed in him. But let's talk the movie.
Yes.
Honestly, the thing for me that I really want to start with this one specifically, because I think it's, when I look back in the movie, what I'll remember the most, it's really, and I'll have to let Chewie kind of take the reins on it, it's really the design of the movie. Like, the movie has such character in every single scene that, like, it stands out very much on its own. But I'll let Chewie handle that more than I can talk about it.
Well, it's one of those movies where you look at it and people will be like, oh, art doesn't have anything to do. It's all outside. Like, it's going to be so easy. And it's just like, wait, no.
Have they never been to a forest? Those things are boring as shit.
It's one of those ones where you're watching it and you're like, oh, the art department must have just had zero fun. Because it just looks like a lot of work for his little town or whatnot to make all that stuff out of little twigs and pieces of trash.
The
Like-
bus they made.
Like
Yeah.
they were either
Yeah, the
they were
cafe.
either in
Yeah,
heaven
it's
or
awesome.
hell. It's really depending on the personality of who they had working on this movie.
Well, yeah, because I almost verbatim said the opposite. That production design must have had a ton of fun making all the stuff for this movie.
It really depends. Like I'd watch it. If I was told to make all this stuff, I'd be like, if I was doing this on my own, I'd have a lot of fun. But if someone's telling me I have to do this in a certain amount of time, I'm gonna hate it. That's one of the things. I mean, that's me just with assignments. Period. But
But yeah, I don't imagine whoever they hired for. I'm shitty at my job. I didn't look at their name, but the production designer in this one, I don't think they could have agreed to do it if they weren't going to have a good time.
Oh, no.
Right.
So you take one look at that script and you know what you're signing up
honestly,
for.
the worst part about it is like you look at that rainforest. That definitely rained for the majority of them shooting.
Oh yeah.
It was
Yeah.
always wet. So dealing with that, I didn't look it up whether or not they had to redo their set multiple times, because that's one of the things you like. If that stuff all gets rained on, a lot of it's probably gonna get ruined.
Yeah, you bring tarps.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
even
yes,
with
tarps,
tarps,
but there's only so much you
Right.
can. It's still really moist even underneath that
Yeah.
tarp.
Yep.
oh, I
It's
mean,
like
'cause-
just
'cause it
dealing with weather is one of the worst things for the art department / set deck.
But it kind of worked for the movie, I thought.
yeah, I mean,
The whole thing being moist was perfect for the tone.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think it worked.
It did work. I'm just looking at it and be like, I bet a lot of the crew was sick pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
Uh,
not surprise me.
And
Probably
then you
was
have to
not
deal
fun
with
to
the
work on.
fact that the actors got to be dirty most of the time. And some of the scenes you have to have them drinking out of what looks like dirty cups or dirty food or whatnot. And you always have to make sure all that's actually sanitary. And it's like, there's always a lot of interesting things you have to make sure that everything's going to be fine.
You've got Paul Dano rubbing Cheeto dust in Harry Potter's mouth,
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to get real intimate in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yep.
which I thought was the best part about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally think it worked. Like their relationship
Yeah.
is the reason you watch the movie. But talking about the relationship, it's interesting if you like listen to the directors talk about the film versus what you see on screen. How did you feel about the relationship? Like, what did you think happened in the movie?
Yeah, I was actually mentioning this to Paul earlier today. Watching the trailers, I didn't know that Daniel Radcliffe was going to become a talking character and be the opposite. I didn't really know what it was about.
Yeah.
Was that something that they kept from us in the marketing?
No, it's in the trailer. He has a few lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
More so in the trailer, they show him singing. So
Yeah.
you know his mouth moves.
Well,
Yeah,
that made
It's
sense.
that, and then like they
But
show
then,
like the selfie shot is in like every single one of the
Oh, yeah,
trailers.
yeah.
So
The slow ride of him coming to life as a corpse was a trip. It was great.
yeah, it really worked. But the interesting thing is, a lot of people think that it's either like not real, like it's all like a metaphor for something. And then on the end of the spectrum, the director's like, no, it's totally real. Everything you see happens.
Which is what I appreciated. I think with
Yeah.
a lot of these kinds of movies, it's very easy to fall into that magical realism trap of, is it real? Is it not real? And wanting
Yeah.
to go for the ambiguity. And in some less beach over the head premises, I think that can work. But I would have been disappointed if I'd walked away from this movie and all that stuff wasn't real, which is why I love the way the movie ended,
Right.
which, spoilers to all you guys listening, like he farts off into the sunset like a jet ski as Mary Elizabeth Winstead stares at his wake and says, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
For me, this movie, however much I'm kind of in the middle ground about loving or hating it. It depends on which part of the film I'm really watching. And I'll get into that as a girl, essentially. But I think this is one of those rare examples of art that somebody made where, like you're saying, they're planning on it just being like straight faced, and then they accidentally made real art, which can be interpreted in many different ways by many different people and goes beyond the intentions of the creator, which I think this film is that.
I don't necessarily disagree with you, but I do think that having now watched it a couple of times, I think that it's more clear. Like, I think they did a very good job trying to make sure that you don't think that it's all surreal and not real, because they do little things like the farting off into the sunset, like the little girl being able to talk to Daniel Radcliffe. But you could also, kind of how you were saying, like, since only the little girl could talk to him, and Paul Dano is basically a child already, only children can see him, so there is
Yeah.
that little bit of magic in there,
Well,
too. Sorry.
Should I just go into my entire argument of what I
Go
think this
for it.
movie
Do
is
it.
then?
Knock
'Cause,
it out.
what Brian was just saying is something that I was talking to him yesterday. And when I watched this film, especially on the second viewing, and like, yes, okay, so the director says this is all supposed to be real. All right, but when I watch it, I view it as this is a man-child story. This is a guy that lost his mother at a young age, and it stunted him. And then he had a terrible relationship with his father, which further stunted him. And then he was never really able to develop as an adult past that situation, which they address with him saying he can't masturbate and he can't really talk to girls. It really ties in together well. So then he gets this figure in this corpse, and I feel like the corpse gets possessed by his inner child. So then he's like learning all these things in life that he doesn't know. He thinks he's disgusting when he discovers his sexuality. All these things that happen to a child, and he's full on confronted by it and having to learn how to deal with it for the first time in his ever. And then he matures throughout the movie because of that. And at the end, he discovers that, okay, now I'm a whole person. Like, I'd learned to love myself in every way. And now I can fart in other people, and it's okay. And then, so he whispers to the corpse at the end. You think you don't know what he's saying. You assume it's some sort of love or a thank you or something. And then he doesn't need him anymore as a separate vessel for his inner child because he's fully like been able to accept everything inside of himself. So then he leaves out into the sunset.
And actually, come to think of it, if you take that tack with the narrative, it's interesting because with him as, if you position him as the child in the id for most of the movie, he's literally being carried around by adult Paul Dano. And then by the end of it, as the inner child grows up and makes more mature choices and has a more mature understanding of himself, by the end of it, he's the one carrying Paul Dano. Like, it's a big climactic moment when he gets up on his own 2 feet for the first time.
It's all about being able to grow up finally for the first time.
That is a really interesting way of framing it.
Yeah, it's one of those things was, wow, that's really cool. And I'm sure the director was like, yeah, that's what I meant to do.
I don't know. I thought it was definitely intentional that, Daniel Radcliffe didn't have his memories or knowledge of life. He asked questions as if a baby who could talk would. Like, why? What is this? And why?
I'm familiar with this.
But that's kind of my favorite thing about him, because when I was looking at the making of this, like apparently his character in the beginning was not this kind of like wide-eyed wonderment sweetheart that Daniel Radcliffe kind of is. He was a little bit more snarky, a little bit more like, yeah, I don't want to be dead. And like the more they got Daniel Radcliffe involved, the more like we need to tailor this to Daniel as opposed to just keeping the character character. So it's one of those like kind of happy accidents of like by this guy agreeing to be in the movie, we got a much better character out of it.
Yeah, do you think the movie would have been drastically different than if, say, the roles were switched? If Daniel Radcliffe was the castaway and Paul Dano was the corpse?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And it's like
Paul Dano generally always kind of looks like a sad guy.
Yeah.
No matter, he doesn't have resting bitch face. He has resting sad face.
For sure.
He's like droopy dog, but a human.
Yeah.
But like it's interesting that like I have a friend of mine at work who will probably enjoy the shout out, who said that this movie broke Daniel Radcliffe out of Harry Potter for him.
Oh yeah.
Like after watching this one, it's like, oh, he can do anything. And it's fun. He's tried many roles. Like he played like a neo-Nazi somewhat recently. Like he's done many things.
He was like a demon too.
Yeah, horns.
Yeah.
And
Don't forget Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
Should we forget it though?
Well, he was Igor in that one.
He was Igor in that one.
But in a combination with him playing Igor and this movie, I have an insane amount of respect for him as a physical actor.
Yeah, like the physicality he brings to these roles it's insane.
Phenomenal. Like what you're saying,
great.
the part when he has to like come alive and fall out of the tree. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, it wasn't even just that was amazing, but everything he did was great.
Yeah.
Like everything, just like the way that he just
You
carried
believed
himself
he
in
was
the
a
movie.
corpse.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you watch a scene, I would find myself watching to see Daniel Radcliffe. He's got to blink. He's going to blink.
Right.
He's got it, and he never blinks.
Yeah.
Never.
I'm sure they had makeup going drip, drip, drip into his eyes pretty commonly.
Oh, I'm sure
yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of movie magic that made it work, but I know like it's hard to win a staring contest. I have a brother. I have experience. They are so I was really impressed by how death-like, I guess would be the word, he was.
Yeah.
but he like and the thing is he really pulls it off, and he pulls it off in a way where I'm surprised there's been no like award talk for him this year, like nothing, and it's like he was great in this movie.
I mean, this is because of the award system is very skewed to
Right.
what was classically considered mature cinema.
Yeah.
And a farting corpse is not what most people
But
think
the
about.
problem that's the weird thing about this movie is that it was considered mature art house like fodder. Like this movie played at like the ArcLight for a week before anyone else. Like if you want to see Swiss Army Man, you need to come to our place. Like it was like a big deal to go see
Have
the
a
Dick
wine
and Fart movie. Like that's they
Flop
know
into
where they're
a
going by
snifter.
following a boner the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like that's
But the old people that vote on the things are old.
they're the ones who wanted the movie. Like,
I don't know. I don't think they did. I think all the younger like art people like us wanted it.
I guess it's possible, but it did well. Like people liked the movie, which is good. It's very good. Let's move on though. Who else should we talk about? What else should we talk about? What else do you want to hear about?
Beyond the inner child thing, he's kind of a stalker.
Kind of?
Yeah.
I was
He's a
really,
full blown creep.
Did
Yeah.
you guys know that going in? I
No, I
knew
did not.
immediately because of the bus scene at the beginning. I'm like, oh, he's a creeper on the bus.
yeah.
I kind of guessed it. I didn't
Yeah.
know for sure, but I
Yeah.
was not. It wasn't like a reveal where I'm like, what? I
Right.
was like, oh, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
I
Yeah.
guessed
And-
it too, and was hoping for kind of a subversion of it. And when one didn't come, I was just like, okay, I'd go away.
Well, see, I thought that the fact that he was a creeper was a subversion of it, because I think they were trying to build the narrative that this is some girl he knows, and the big plot twist is that he's actually a creeper. And where I would expect a lesser movie to romanticize that, loving her from afar, I appreciated that there were times when this movie would start to veer into dicey territory, like with its use of the word retard, for instance, and then immediately go back and say that this isn't okay, and immediately present a contrasting narrative to the use of that word or the exhibition of this behavior,
Right.
which I thought was an interesting and very and characteristically self-aware thing for the movie to do.
I like that, and I like that it was kind of like what you were saying. Like they never made it okay. He was never the hero for stalking her on the bus. It was always like when she finds out, she's not gonna like it, and then she didn't because of
Right.
course not. And that it felt more realistic, especially in a movie about a farting boner-ridden corpse.
They
but
make
like,
him tragic. Like you have sympathy for him
Yeah.
while you're kind of grossed out by
Absolutely.
him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's not sympathy. Like they do it in a really smart way where you don't feel like you're cheering on the creeper on the bus. You're cheering on the guy who has social anxiety problems out his ass in the worst way possible.
Kind of, yeah. And then you're like, well, then just good. Go to jail after this. You're fine. You're gonna grow up.
I
And
don't think
I
he
don't-
deserved to go to jail.
I don't think he was going to jail.
no,
he
no.
didn't
But
do
like,
anything illegal.
but like, you get what's coming to you. We don't like you, but you got over your thing. Like,
I never
I just didn't like
disliked
him
him.
at all.
I
in the
never
movie.
disliked him. I always kind of liked him, but I liked him that way of like he needs
He needed
help.
to grow up.
Yeah, he needed help. He needed a good friend, which he clearly
got
never
it,
had.
yeah.
And that's like this was the beginning of him riding the ship, course correcting.
I really wonder what his relationship with his father was going to be like after this movie.
Oh,
'Cause-
weird.
Because, yeah, but his father looks happy at the end.
Well, I think he was laughing at the farts.
He was, but it's like the first time like he sees his son for the first time. Like you get the sense that his father never really got over his wife dying either.
Right.
And it's like he's really confronted with all of his inadequacies in this moment of my son is a complete mess and it's probably my fault. And he looks embarrassed, he looks sad, and then he just looks like accepting, and that's why he's starting to laugh. Like it's such a weird, like watching the emotions on the guy who played his father. You get such little time with him, but I was still always invested in what he was thinking at that moment.
He nailed his very small part.
Well,
There's no small parts, only small actors.
Well,
But,
I was struck by the fact that of all the characters on screen, only he and Paul Dano are the two that immediately laugh when a fart happens. Everybody else kind of grimaces or they can't believe that this corpse
Well,
is
the
farting.
little girl was totally into it. She's,
Oh, yeah,
she's
that's true.
laughing her ass off when he's farting away into the
Yeah.
sunset.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Well, there goes my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Chewie. It's
But
great.
I also
I think
just
that's
threw a
totally
chair
fair.
at it.
I don't know.
but I also love like with Paul Dano, the thing we haven't really mentioned much is he's killing himself in the beginning of the movie, and I love that the corpse washes up and he's all excited. It's like somebody else is here. Oh, he's dead, and then he's farting. He's like, that's funny. That's funny.
and then he goes back to killing
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah. Oh, and I loved the way that it starts like so sad. He is killing himself, and then he like sees the corpse and doesn't mean to and trips. And
Yeah.
then he accidentally is killing himself again, and he doesn't want to, and then he accidentally isn't killing himself again. He just can't win.
Oh, can we talk about a moment for how this movie actually starts? Just
With
an
all the
image of
garbage?
the water
Yeah.
with different pieces of garbage with things written on them, and then they focus on the humor of the movie is already like so established in the beginning with how intricate each one. They get more intricate with each thing, and then one side says, I don't want to die alone. And then the other one just says, I'm so bored.
Well, it's interesting because one of you guys told me before we started recording that the two guys who directed this are music video directors.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, but once you mentioned that, it makes perfect sense.
Perfect sense, yeah.
This whole movie is an OK Go video.
Yeah.
They take a high concept
of.
and then
Yeah.
they just play with variations of it for its entire runtime.
Huh.
Yeah.
In this case, like trash and dead people.
Yeah.
And farts.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting listening to them talk about making the movie because it's like they got the go-ahead. They're going to make a film. Like, well, which one do we make? Wouldn't it be funny if we did that farting movie? And they're like, no one will of us make it. That's never going to happen. I'm like, well, what if we put all of our heart and soul into making that movie? Like, just straight face the whole time, make the movie we've been talking about for years, and we just pour everything we have into it. Maybe they'll let us do it. And then here we go.
And Daniel Radcliffe read it and was like, I'm in.
Yeah, like that was the fact they even got. They made them audition for it.
Really?
They made the two of them audition. I'm like, dude, you got two like pretty much A-list actors agreeing to be in your farting corpse movie. Just take them.
No,
take it,
no.
yeah.
They did that smart, though, because we've learned that in other movies. Just because you have two A-list actors doesn't mean they have charisma together.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm saying me as the amateur filmmaker, I'm like, Daniel Radcliffe agreed to be in this? We're good. Woo!
Well, the misconception is that they're amateurs, I guess, because
Yeah.
their list of videos is not a small feat.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
can be
just,
a good video director and still be a terrible movie director.
Oh, yeah,
I
absolutely.
learned that
Straight.
making
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
No, clearly it's just clearly these are just two people who were pigeonholed into making music videos,
Right.
Who are unbelievably talented, and if they can make a movie out of this that we're having this discussion about, holy shit, they're impressive.
And they're not just music video directors, right? They wrote
No.
the music for this, so
Yeah.
they're also musicians.
Oh yeah, and the lyrics and the music, if you paid attention, are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Have the captions on when you watch it.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
if you
the-
don't, you're missing out on some of the best
Really?
jokes in the movie.
Yeah, like the beautiful, soulful cover of Cotton Eye Joe that segues smoothly into Jurassic Park.
Yeah. And then there's like during the first montage, like when they start smiling and have a good time, one of the lines in it is like, "Everything we needed was in this montage."
Oh, really? I did not catch that.
Like, seriously, whenever there's music, put on the subtitles. There's some amazing jokes in there.
Yeah, for me, that was like the funniest, and I'm glad I had those on. I just do it because our air conditioning is loud, and I can never hear it without waking anybody up.
Well, yeah, I'll watch movies late at night, and I don't want to wake up Chewie, so I'll
Yeah.
just leave on subtitles. And yeah, it's just like, oh wow.
I've been far more rewarded by subtitles on every movie I've watched than
Yeah.
not. So do it. I recommend it.
especially with this one. But yeah, like
Yeah.
I cannot sing their praises enough. Like these two guys doing this, like they did an amazing job with a very, very oddball movie.
Oh, and that was Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe that were singing on the soundtrack, yes?
I believe so. I did not look it up though.
Because I also appreciated that the characters would occasionally sing along or lip sync with the music as it was playing.
Right.
I thought that was an interesting touch.
Yeah.
That it didn't seem to have any greater narrative significance. It just seemed like, well, we have a boner compass, so you might as well do this too.
Yeah. I'm looking
and
at
that
it now.
gets
They
into
did-
my like. This is such a movie, a dude movie.
Yeah.
It is. But before we jump into that, I will say this. I'm looking at it now. They did not do all the music.
Oh, I thought they did. Okay.
No, they might have done some of it, but it says
Okay Go
music
did the
by
rest.
2 different people.
Oh.
Okay, Go did the
Oh, I'm
rest.
sorry.
It was just okay, go.
It's their alternative band, sort of like what's his name? That country.
It's
Jack
actually
White.
it's
Yeah.
You're not wrong. It's the guys from Manchester Orchestra.
Oh.
Oh, well, okay then.
So I'm sorry I said that earlier. Like I thought I read that somewhere that the directors also did the music. So
Well, they might have done some of it. I'm just saying, like the main stuff was 2 of the guys from Manchester
Yeah.
Orchestra.
Mm.
So again, you're not wrong about some alt band doing it. There you go.
very talented people.
Very good band. I like their stuff. But you're saying so this is a full-blown dude movie.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't
Well,
think
well-
we've had this much of a dude movie since Boyhood. Like it's just
Oh
this
no,
is for men.
not well. I guess Boyhood, but I also had the same feeling like while watching. Crap! I just forgot the. All right.
Dazed
Oh,
and Confused.
There we
Dazed
are.
and-
Like watching Dazed and Confused, I'm like, this is such a dude film. And then watching this movie, I'm like, this is such a dude film. This is everything
Well,
dudes
2 of
love.
those are Linklaters, so what's
It's
that
a-
say about
it's,
Linklater?
it's totally bro love.
He's a dude.
It's dick jokes. It's farting jokes, and it's being obsessed with a girl and not knowing what to do about
And it's
it.
about stunted growth. Like
Yeah.
that's our fun narrative
Like-
for.
Yeah.
But
red
honestly, in
males.
the realm of dude movies, I'd watch this one more than the other two.
Well, I mean, especially like this one has, like I should name them. It's Daniel Scheinhardt and Daniel Kwan who directed the film.
The Daniels.
There's so many
The
Daniels.
Yeah, a couple of Daniels.
No Danny.
That's
They
what it says
do-
in the movie.
They
the
do actually
Daniels.
go by as by the Daniels.
Do they really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
professionally.
Yeah, I
It's
think
a,
that
a
said-
film by Daniels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which I thought was a last name, actually.
Why is your first name an article?
But yeah, so these two guys, like, they did a really good job making this dick and fart movie so much more
Yeah.
than a dick and fart movie. And that's why I think women are probably more prone to watch this one as opposed to the other dude movies you're
Because
talking
it's
about.
actually really good. I mean, not that the other two movies aren't good.
No, I
We've
mean,
discussed those before.
yeah.
Just it's more open to interpretation,
Yep.
and it's got classic archetypal issues in it, which anyone can attach themselves to.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. It does so like with a framing device that I don't think it's like gender specific.
Yeah.
Like I think that really anyone could attach themselves to really either one of the characters. The funny thing that I find that was in this movie that no one talks about is that apparently they thought they were making a very important like gay movie, and no one cares about that at all.
They didn't feel gay.
No,
No,
never.
Yeah.
they felt like brothers.
Yeah.
It felt like, dude, you don't have to be gay to kiss the same gender.
No, but I think that the idea is that it wasn't about them chasing the girl; it was about them finding that they were falling in love. And I don't think that necessarily came across the way the directors thought it
It
would.
never would have
No,
got into my mind.
But knowing that and looking at it, I kind of get it because it's kind of like it's specifically in the scene where they're about to cross the big bridge, and he's talking about like I feel like there's something between us, even though we're touching. Does anyone else have that feeling before? And he's like, nope, you must be the first person in the history of time to have that feeling. And apparently that sequence, like when I'm watching it the first time, I'm still imagining Paul Dano as the girl, and he's trying to have made the move on the girl and it didn't work. But apparently the way the movie's supposed to be playing out, it's actually these two men realizing that they were having feelings for each other, and it wasn't the girl. Like the girl thing was like, oh shit, that was just like a thing that we were going too far with, and now we have this relationship. Which, if you know that looking at it, it's there. It
It's
just
there for
doesn't.
a second view, but on the first, like,
Yeah, exactly.
nothing in the filmmaking really.
Yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't.
even
It
on the
doesn't.
second view,
And it also,
they can say that, but that's not what I
No,
get.
but it's one of the things where if you know it sitting down
Yeah.
for it, it's like, oh, I can see that. It's definitely there. But if you don't, then I don't think it shows up necessarily. I mean, maybe somebody out there did. I don't think anyone on the table did, but
and yeah, I mean, and it's just like some of the absurdism in the movie kind of steals from that a little bit, and just because there's so many other things competing in terms of theme that
Yeah.
it's just like it got farted over, I guess, for lack of a better word. Like there was just so much.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think there's also just a tendency in our culture to make male-on-male affection a source of comedy,
Yeah.
whether or not
Yeah.
it should be. And like two dudes kissing is always played for laughs in
Yeah.
mainstream American comedy. It's like a thing that these two straight dudes are getting forced to do. So when something is played more tenderly, as you say, because you've got the context of farts and boner compasses, those moments, they get farted over.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I still like even with that their kiss. I don't think it's played for laughs.
No, I don't think it.
I don't think when we saw it in theaters, I don't think there's a chuckle in the audience. It's,
no, but I
it's
wouldn't
kind of
say
a
it's-
sweet moment.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily played romantically either.
No, it's more of a sweet moment, not really romantic.
Chaste.
Thing. Yeah.
It's chaste necrophilia.
What a weird. That's a great band name.
It is.
It's my Jaeger and Pacific Rim.
Nice.
But talking more about like the movie story, since we have a writer here, I figured we should ask about it. What did you think about just kind of like as like an A to B story? Like, how do you think it was well told? Was there anything that you would have changed personally? What do you think?
You know, it really does follow that classical structure. It meanders a bit because it's a more character-driven movie. I got shades of like Waiting for Godot or Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, where you've got these two guys that are in this indeterminate location just talking about life as they're sort of vaguely heading towards something down the line. So I think if that's the kind of thing they were going for, where it was supposed to be more meditative, they absolutely succeeded in that regard. I wouldn't really change much about the structure of this. I think there were definitely some montages that could have been maybe a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Or
I
maybe-
think that's the music video directors in them. a little
Exactly.
bit,
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it was a very compact movie with not a lot of fat that you could trim.
Yeah. I think it's like an hour 31, something like that. Like it's 97 minutes. Yeah, it's a tight movie.
Yeah. So I don't really know if there's. I don't know, because part of me is curious about the world that he left behind when he got stuck on that island. But then part of me thinks that that's really beside the point.
Yeah.
You know, and I
Yeah.
mean, when you've got, say, Mary Elizabeth Winstead playing the object of his affections, Sarah,
Right.
she doesn't have that much screen time, but I think she does a really good job of getting across that while she is part of his world, he is not part of hers.
Yeah.
And so while I'm a little bit curious about her and about Hank's dad, I understand that that's also beside the point of the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the movie would necessarily be served by going down those, to use the expression we've loved today, rabbit holes.
Yeah. So my thing is, and feel free to correct me on this, I think part of the reason that the homosexual relationship does not play out in the movie at all is because the very early draft in the movie was that they were part of each other's worlds. They were in a relationship, and he needed to use Daniel Radcliffe to get back to her so they could be back together, and that obviously changed through rewrites and rewrites and rewrites. I think that relationship wouldn't have never played out, or would have played out much more if there was not the princess in the castle. Like, there was not a girl for him to get to. And I don't know. Agree with me, disagree with me. Do you think would that relationship have played out more if there wasn't a girl he was chasing the whole time?
If she turned out to be not real, like
Okay.
that would have actually helped. If like you had this idea of what you were going for, and you thought it was her, but no, you were just holding things back.
Okay.
It was him. You know, like the destination was never where you're going. You had to find yourself, kind of thing. I don't know. Like, it seems like having her be real and having all that be real at the end. If you wanted to put those themes in there, having it real at the end, her being a real object of his affection,
Yeah.
just kind of takes away.
Yeah, I would say you could have the princess in the castle angle work if the princess was Hank's dad.
Okay. Yeah.
Trying to get back to his dad.
Yeah. Like, if he was trying to go back to his dad the whole
like
time.
for his birthday or something.
And then having the gay son might explain the rift a little bit more. Like, there
Yeah.
might be things in there. The problem is, like, I'm nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking because I think what's on screen works really well. I just it's kind of fun to just kind of like, would this one thing they've mentioned that I've heard them mention play out if they just tweaked things? And I think you're right. Maybe if he's going after the dad, it would have actually wrung out a little bit more.
Yeah, I can't think of anything to tweak for me because I just don't. Maybe it's because of how I am with my friends.
Yeah.
I'm very physically affectionate to anyone that I really value in my life. So the idea that that would just lead into homosexuality just doesn't work for me.
Right.
Like, there has to be more for it to lead into that for me. And
Well, I think the relationship's definitely there. Like, their relationship, like, it goes, like, there's a big arc in it. Like, where they start to where they end. It's very starts as like, I'm literally carrying you through the forest to I need you in my life.
And you're carrying me.
Yeah. It's a really well made arc in there.
It is.
And yeah, it's nice, but yeah, again, another thing is just like the girl on the bus, the magic, like these magical tropes that he's using in his mind. They really play those up.
Yeah.
And it's just it all takes away from that theme if that's what you're going for. But
Yeah. But I mean, even with all that stuff, I still think it was very ballsy for them to just make it all real. Like, I still really like that about the movie. That, like, I agree that where you went before, where it's all the other things you can interpret out of it, it's there if you want to. But if you don't, you just want to look at the movie.
Well, I don't
As it
question
is.
that the corpse was real. Like, in my brain, it's never that he that he was just imagining all this stuff happening.
Right.
For me, it was just such a little, like, it's very magical.
Uh-huh.
Like, how in the idea of magic being real in a world that you can bottle something up into such a thing, kind of like in Fantastic Beasts, where it'll become its own entity. Like, I thought, to me, that's what his inner child was.
Okay.
And
yeah.
it literally possessed this corpse.
Yeah. I mean,
So to me, it still all happened.
and that's why I mean, this movie didn't make my top 10 of the year. I know it did for a lot of people, but that's why I will still enjoy watching this movie. I still think it's really great because you can get all these different things out of there, and it doesn't feel like it's poorly made where you can get that stuff. Like, well, it just didn't make sense. It just kind of feels like it's very malleable to what you want to push and pull from it.
And that's true art.
Yeah, and that's very tough to do, especially with their first time out of the bag for directing a film. Like, it's awesome.
I really like that they, showed us other characters seeing what he was seeing, because that was, it kind of took away from me in Birdman and in Inception.
Specifically Birdman. Like,
Yeah.
that one, I definitely, like, that would have, it almost made it too aloof by not seeing it. And like this one, they
I guess I forgot that they had Emma Stone look up, in the end of Birdman, but even that was a little too vague and not enough. I like the confirmation in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else we want to talk about in this thing? We mentioned the music, but I know that one musical cue in the beginning of the movie is probably still one of my favorite moments in the entire thing.
How about my favorite gag, which is that we spend an hour and a half trying to get from the wash-up point to land, and then in 10 minutes they chase themselves back through it.
Yeah, that was clearly I don't want to go there.
Yeah. So he's just been fucking around in her backyard the whole time.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He was just going in circles.
Yeah.
But he was on an island. He rode the corpse across water.
He did.
Yeah,
The
which should be
island
like
was
the
real.
first. Yeah, well, I would
Yeah.
say which should be the first
Yeah.
indicator that this all is real. It's not just some surrealistic touch that
Right.
he's,
Yeah.
that he's hallucinating.
Right. Or if the corpse wasn't real at all, he was just in her backyard the whole time and imagined getting across water, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did they have a pool in their yard?
Is that guy back there again? God, that guy's weird.
Because I was struck by there is a lot of garbage here.
Yeah.
Hello, police. Paul Dano's in my backyard riding Daniel Radcliffe.
Somebody call Zoe Kazan.
Okay, so then the last thing I want to talk about in this movie is I really just want to talk about the Swiss Army Man himself, not just Daniel Radcliffe playing the character, but I think they did. My favorite thing in this movie is the character they created in that corpse. I think it's one of the coolest things in movies in a very long time.
Brilliant.
But he's innocence personified.
It's not just even the innocence personified. It's he is everything you need him to be.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah,
that's
that
what I
too.
love about it. Like, God, I need water. He just starts puking up water. I need to go fishing. I can throw rocks at him and turn him into a machine gun. Like, there's just so many awesome things they did
And-
with this character.
And the way that he learns all these things. I
Yeah.
really liked the situations of discovery.
It's awesome. Like, that's it. Not to just sound like I have no better word, but it really is just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially since he reclaims his agency at the end of it.
Yeah.
After just being a toy for Paul Dano to play with for an hour and a half, when he suddenly asked the question, like, I puked and you prodded me and pushed me and I farted, and why haven't I seen you do any of those things?
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really nice way to invert the premise of things.
That was a moment where I was worried that it might turn out he is not real. Like when
Yeah.
he was saying, I was like, oh no, don't do the thing I expect you to do right now.
Well,
And they didn't, so that's good.
Well, the thing I was worried I got that same worry when the reporter started calling him Manny at the end, and I was like, oh no.
Right.
no.
Did they switch identities?
Yeah,
for
please don't
real?
make this
Were
a
you
Fight
the
Club
same
thing.
person the whole time?
Right, or-
Aw.
Paul Dano's actually dead, and
Yeah.
it's actually Daniel Radcliffe experiencing it, seeing himself be dead.
Oh, that'd have been
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah. But not
That's
taking
where
one of
you,
the
that's where you would have gone from being art to just being blah.
Right.
no. I almost want to pick the movie for today to talk about if that's the ending that
Yeah.
they've gone with.
It's like when you watch an entire movie and then somebody wakes up at the end and be like, it was all a dream.
Ugh.
Like, oh, all right.
Like
Yeah.
Dallas.
So you just wasted 2 hours of my time. Thanks a lot, movie.
That whole period from about 1999 to 2003, when everybody had their Sixth Sense knockoffs,
You
that
gotta have a
was,
twist.
that was the worst time to go see movies. It was
I
horrible.
guess it scarred me because now I'm watching for it in every movie I see.
Thanks, Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Fight Club fits right in there.
Yeah.
But that was a book. Whatever.
Yeah, there's also Palahonic,
Yeah.
who does that all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of a one-trick pony there.
Anyhow, is there anything else we want to say about this thing that we have not mentioned?
Did we say it's good?
I think we've said it's good.
Okay, it's good.
I mean, for anyone who can't stomach continual dick and fart jokes, they would probably hate this movie. But that you said that.
Yeah, I do not think this is a movie for everyone. Well, let's do that. Would we recommend it? I honestly would. I would give you the caveat of if you're not going to like dick and fart jokes the whole movie, it might not be for you. But this is the best version of dick and fart jokes you will ever see.
Let me pose this question to you. Would you recommend it to your parents? And my answer is no.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I mean, it's for me. Your parents are more cultured in that way.
My dad would
that-
like it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what I would recommend you to a modern art museum. I'm like, are you going to appreciate this for the ideas it's presenting to you, or are you just going to see a circle in another circle? So it's like, can you see somebody that will look past the dick and fart? Like, you really need to know who you're talking to,
Yeah.
because so
Right.
many people won't.
Yeah, because I mean, I saw 2 dick and fart joke movies this year. One of them I really like, and one of them's just kind of okay. The other one's at Brothers Grimsby. Some really funny moments in Brothers Grimsby. If you get a chance to watch it, I recommend it. Very funny. Completely different dick and fart jokes.
But I would recommend it to my friends.
I'd honestly recommend it to my friends.
Yeah.
I would not recommend it to my sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be where I'd go. I would
I
not
wouldn't
recommend.
recommend it to my brother.
I was gonna say my brother-in-law. Yeah, so yeah, I don't think he'd like it.
Okay.
Trying to think of who I would recommend it to.
And I don't mean that to sound like a slight. Like I don't want to sound like an asshole. Like oh, you just wouldn't get it. That's not what I'm saying. I don't think this would really work for everybody.
Okay.
It's very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could recommend a lot of horror movies to somebody, but there's only a number of people I would recommend Hannibal to.
Yeah,
Because, I mean,
Sure.
this was to the fart joke what Hannibal is to blood and gore.
sure, yeah,
The artsy version.
yeah.
Yeah, the artsy version on no budget.
Would you say it's artsy fartsy?
That joke is better than a movie.
Everything has led up to this moment.
Woo! I feel good about that one.
And with that, we're canceled.
And we're done.
Delete the site.
I'm only half joking. I think it's time for quotes. Everybody got their quote?
I've
ready?
got him.
I've got my quote, and mine is I'm cheating this week, so I'm sure that none of you have mine. Mine is from the directors talking about the film, because this is the best thing I heard. I know.
Whoa.
I know. All right. So this is the quote that I'm going with for this movie. When we let Hank and Manny fall in love, we accidentally made a gay necrophilia movie.
Spot on.
I'm
Everyone
gonna say,
just threw their phones down like they dropped the mic for you.
Damn it, he stole mine.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's going to take mine, but the part when Daniel gets the boner for the first time and he doesn't know what's going on and he's just staring down at his dick going, oh no, I'm disgusting.
Yeah.
I just imagine every guy had that moment.
Yeah, I was raised Catholic, so I've been there.
What is happening
God,
to me?
have you ever seen the movie Bubble Boy? With
No.
Jake Gyllenhaal, the
No.
first time he gets a boner, he takes out a wooden bat and just goes, yeah, Bubble Boy references.
Somebody has to remember that
Yeah.
movie. Somebody
here
has to
for.
Book of Eli that
Yeah.
movie. When the apocalypse
oh God,
comes.
Book of Eli.
I'll just be walking around the desert.
terrible
Have you seen
movie.
Bubble Boy?
The keeper of the bubble boy. Oh, I want to see that.
Danny Trejo's in it. Everyone likes it.
All right, I got one. It's poignant despite the dick and fart joke of it. If my best friend hides his farts from me, then what else is he hiding from me? And why does that make me feel so alone? It was like, yeah.
Brian learned real fast in our relationship that I didn't hold anything back.
Yeah.
Farts
she
or
just
nothing.
lets him rip.
I'm like, if you can't handle the fact that yes, I'm a girl and I'm gonna keep farting,
She
then
has
just
those,
break up with me now.
She has those good farts, the and then you hear the, which means that you can just hear that she just shoved that fart out.
You sure that wasn't like
Oh boy, here it comes.
Better. It's better that than the question mark. It's that Valley Girl fart.
There you
has
go.
the upwards intonation.
I'm very open when people say, "Hey,
the
lady,
Clueless.
can you do this thing?" I'm like, "I'm not a lady."
I'm not a lady. Ah.
Am I the last one?
We have two more, don't we?
Yeah, you and me.
Okay. Go
Me
ahead.
and you.
I have a good one and a backup one.
I mean, I actually already referenced it. I think my real summation of my experience with this movie was the last line of the movie, which is, what the fuck? Yeah. Like-
She delivers that line.
Yeah,
absolutely.
She absolutely delivers it. And it is. I mean, there's a couple other great lines in there. If you don't know Jurassic Park, you don't know shit. That's a pretty good line right there. But
That's my shitty quote.
but what the fuck?
Yeah.
I think there's no better. It's like the perfect catharsis after you've seen all these farts and all these boners and this bear, the bear attack. Because there's a bear attack.
Yeah, we never mentioned the bear.
It's the audience's recognition of the movie, basically.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, what's yours?
Mine is the long monologue. Maybe we're all a little ugly. Maybe we're all just ugly, dying sacks of shit. And maybe all it would take is one person to be okay with that, and the whole world will be dancing and singing and farting, and everyone will feel a little less alone.
I like it.
I love that line.
It's a great line.
Yeah.
And he delivers it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
better than
movie's
I did.
really about farting.
I
Yeah.
try to promote that idea of life because whenever people burp at work, I'm just like, "Oh, good burp." I never say gross or make any sort of mean face. I'm like, "Oh, it's a good burp." Do
We're
more.
all falling to shit. All right. Let's all fart and burp in front of each other. Nailed it.
Got it.
That's one thing that I've never understood about boys. How can you just do it on?
That one I just had coming. The review system for today is coming based on what Chewie said earlier, because I think it's going to work out really well. Dude movies. You can interpret that however you want.
21 Jump Street.
Okay.
Because I just watched it and I was thinking about it. Does that count?
You gotta
You got
have
to do
a
better
reason.
than just because I just watched it.
Come up with a reason.
It was a heartfelt comedy about two people who didn't really belong together, and they matured along the way. And they were both of the movies, this and 21 Jump Street, were way better than they had any right to be.
Okay, yeah, that works.
I got one.
Go
It's
for
Dude, Where's My Car? This is
Oh,
the artistic version of it.
Okay.
It's the artistic version of the dude, sweet, dude, sweet scene.
Just farts is the artistic version?
And then,
That's it.
and then,
How well do you remember this movie?
It's been a while.
Clearly.
I was an Asian person saying, and then.
No, but that's it.
No, I didn't. All right. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, my dude movie is Die Hard because
Okay.
Daniel Radcliffe did.
Oh, I like puns.
I just wrote hard into my notes. I was trying to type the title of the movie I just did. Dude, where's my Dude, where's my heart?
All right, I got mine.
Okay.
This works into a film that I love, and a lot of other people don't. And I can always defend it, and I will always rewatch it.
Jupiter
and
Ascending,
it is
Jupiter Ascending.
I
Nope.
believe you said that one.
I like dogs.
And it is a fantastic bromance that's all about trying to get to the end goal, but on the way, it is super weird. They really rely on each other the whole time, but their situations make no sense. But I'm always on board.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Nope,
Blues Brothers.
nope. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that movie. Great bromance. Wish they kept making more. Give me 4 and 5 already.
You just stole mine.
Oh, really?
Oh, I was so prepared for that one.
All right, they do
And-
Harold and Kumar
No.
go to Guantanamo.
No. Just give me a second. I got to think of another one now.
There's no double dipping the chip.
I should have expected you to go for that one. Okay, so mine, I'm gonna go with. I had
I'm
my whole
sorry,
thing
honey.
set. No, it's, I should have expected it.
First, she throws a chair at you, and then
I know
like,
it's been a rough
And then a
day in
curveball.
a rough day
I'm
in our
the only
marriage.
reason we own the movies.
Anyhow, I'm gonna go with I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And I'm going with that one basically because kind of like what John was saying earlier, where it's kind of like the art house version of this thing, but it still is about two dudes who just totally need each other, and they learn things along the way. That's gonna be
They do mature throughout the film.
Sure. I haven't seen this since I was a kid, so it's a really tough reach
You
for
should
me.
rewatch
but
that tonight.
we have other things to watch.
I love how they get I just forgot his name. The Mongol into the telephone box.
Yeah, the skateboarding Mongol.
Yeah.
What
Like
Genghis Khan?
Snickers.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, it's a Snickers. Come on.
What a movie. Anyhow, I think that brings today's episode to a close. Coming up next week, we have Hell or High Water. Or the best of 2016, based on how well I can schedule people. And if they can't get in time for next week, then we'll do Hell or High Water. If they can, then we'll do best of 2016. But it's going to come based on the people we're asking to help us out.
and you're gonna listen regardless.
Either way,
Either way.
come hell or high water,
Yeah,
we're going
yeah.
to make a podcast.
But so far, the only guest we have booked is Craig McFarlane and the people over at Front Row Movie Reviews. And I'm very excited to hear what they have to say about the best movies of 2016.
Craggy poo.
What do they know about movies?
And they are recently going to do an episode based on our show where they are doing, I believe it's a musical battle. And I'm looking forward to hearing how they do that.
So do we lawyer up now?
Well, he did ask for permission. He sent me a
You
thing.
gave it to
He's
him?
going to reference us,
free?
right?
He did. He said he will say that we took this from After the Hype. And if he
Okay.
doesn't, there will be a war.
So it's like
Yeah.
Tumblr attrition, right? It's
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. If not, I am fully prepared to go to war with the Front Row Movie Reviews. And hopefully they listen
We
to this
do know
episode.
where they live.
I do. It's going to be great. So thanks again very much to Paul for coming out.
Yeah. Had a ton of fun being here.
What's the name of your book again?
It is Last Call at the Nightshade Lounge.
Last
And
Call in the Nightshade Lounge.
Yeah, it is available everywhere you can buy books, and probably some places where you could buy other things.
As long as I can get other things, then I'm buying the book.
Yeah.
I got to get a pile of stuff. You're booking me on top, but it's going to be in a pile.
Good.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a pile of porn.
Amazon has to do it that
That's
way.
okay.
Yeah.
That's
you
okay.
have to you have to buy it and put it in a pile and
I
get
mean,
that pile
honest-
going.
A pile of smut and a book.
No, good. That would put me in
It's
company with
for
my
the
equals.
articles.
There you go. You can find us online at athpod.com. You can find us on Twitter, ath_podcast, everywhere else at athpodcast. And rate and review us on iTunes. That's it. And what else am I forgetting?
Listen next week.
Email.
Soon-
Email us at athpodcast@gmail.com.
Soon we will
Said
start
that.
to have swag on our website, by the way.
Soon we're going to start up a store with Redbubble here soon. I'm really excited about that.
Buy
And
our
then,
merch. Yeah.
You can buy our merch.
I'm planning
and
on making a T-shirt that says "Dudes love dicks." From
I'm
after
so
the hype.
excited for that shirt.
It's gonna be great for Pride
I will be the
Month.
first person to buy it. And then we're going to have articles coming up on our website soon. Ryan's written one. I've written one. I think John has started writing one.
I've gift one.
Yeah. Chewie has thought about writing one. And then we're going to start getting guest writers. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
We're gonna
keep-
write a second one, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe not.
But keep going to athpod.com to see these things start coming out. I'm really excited for them. All right. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. And have a great whatever you're going to have.
Bye.
Au revoir.